The unthinkable has just happened on the global stage of football, sending shockwaves far beyond the pitch. For the very first time in their illustrious and storied history, England's national football team has been defeated by an African nation. This seismic event is not just a sporting upset. It is a moment threatening to shake the very foundations of one of the world's greatest footballing powerhouses, with implications that could reverberate through the global football economy for years to come. Inside Nottingham's City Ground, a fortress where English fans have so often sung triumphantly, the mood quickly soured. The stands, filled with supporters draped in white and red, were charged with expectation. They anticipated another routine victory, another chapter in England's long tradition of dominance. But instead, they watched in disbelief as England, under the guidance of the highly esteemed German tactician Thomas Tuchel, were handed a bruising and historic defeat by Senegal. The air was thick with tension as boos cascaded down from the terraces, a rare and stinging rebuke. Tuchel himself, renowned for his composure, could only admit that his players looked, in his own words, frozen. How did it come to this? How did a nation with decades of footballing tradition and astronomical investments in its infrastructure and talent find itself outplayed and outmaneuvered? And crucially, what does this mean for the future of football on a global scale, where billions of pounds and dollars are at stake in broadcasting, sponsorship, and talent pipelines? To truly grasp the magnitude of this upset, we have to step back and examine the broader historical and economic context. England's footballing story is decorated with moments of glory, none more iconic than their legendary World Cup victory in 1966. That triumph, still sung about and replayed to this day, set a standard for generations. Since then, England has invested relentlessly. Billions of pounds have flowed into clubs, state-of-the-art training facilities, and sprawling youth academies. The Premier League, now the most watched football league on the planet, has become a global entertainment behemoth, with television rights sold for billions across continents. The arrival of Thomas Tuchel, a German mastermind famed for his tactical acumen and success with clubs like Paris Saint-Germain and Chelsea, was seen as the dawn of a new golden era. Expectations soared. Fans believed that, under Tuchel, England would blend their traditional fighting spirit with modern strategic sophistication, finally bridging the gap to football's elite. Yet, as England looked to the future with hope, a very different story was unfolding on the other side of the pitch. In Senegal, over the past decade, a quiet revolution had begun. Senegalese football, once dismissed as plucky but limited, has been transformed by a wave of targeted investment in youth academies and grassroots development. The Senegalese Football Federation, recognizing the nation's raw athletic talent, poured resources into coaching education, nutrition, and player analytics. Their domestic league, once overlooked, has become a fertile ground for nurturing future stars who now make their mark in Europe's top divisions. Leading this new generation is Pape Thiaw, a coach whose vision and tactical innovation have redefined what is possible for African teams. Thiaw's bold shift toward a high-octane, counter-pressing style gave Senegal a tactical edge that few anticipated. This approach, emphasizing relentless energy, quick transitions, and collective discipline, proved to be England's undoing. Senegal's players executed the plan with precision, pressing high up the pitch and exposing the vulnerabilities in England's midfield and defense. The result was not just an upset on the scoreboard. It was a statement to the footballing world. The old hierarchies are crumbling. As Pape Thiaw declared in his post-match interview, "This is the end of African football's underdog status." Those words carry weight. They challenge decades of stereotypes and signal a power shift in the global game. For England, this defeat is more than a bruised ego or a blip on the record. It is a damaging blow to their FIFA ranking, which in turn affects seedings for major tournaments and can have a domino effect on sponsorship deals and player valuations. Perhaps more urgently, it shatters the narrative of progress under Tuchel. The match began with promise. England's captain, Harry Kane, scored his 73rd international goal, slotting home after a well-worked move. For a moment, all seemed well. But then, cracks began to appear. Defensive errors crept in, and England's customary drive faded. Senegal equalized just before halftime, with Ismaila Sarr capitalizing on a lapse in concentration. Shortly after the hour mark, Habib Diarra fired Senegal ahead, and as England desperately pushed forward, substitute Cheikh Sabali delivered the final blow in stoppage time. The home supporters, so often the team's 12th man, were left in stunned silence. The fallout was immediate and intense. Harry Kane, never one to avoid the hard truths, spoke candidly. "We had moments, but with and without the ball, things aren't clicking. We're not finding the right tempo. We've lost that aggressive nature that we had. Not good enough." The criticisms did not stop there. Alan Shearer, a legend in English football and a respected BBC sport analyst, pinpointed the heart of the problem. The midfield lacks creativity. Tuchel needs to unlock their potential. Glenn Hoddle, himself a former England manager and BT Sport commentator, was even more scathing. Tuchel's tactics are rigid and ill-equipped for the modern game. Other voices joined the chorus. Eniola Aluko, former England international and The Guardian columnist, highlighted a lack of leadership and mental fortitude within the squad, while Gary Neville, speaking for Sky Sports, questioned the decision to persist with Kyle Walker despite diminishing returns, calling for bolder choices and the integration of younger defenders. Melissa Reddy of ESPN declared that Tuchel's honeymoon period was emphatically over. Meanwhile, on the Senegalese side, the mood was jubilant. This victory is set to unlock a flood of new sponsorship deals and investment opportunities. Industry analysts predict that millions of pounds and euros will pour into Senegalese football, funding the expansion of youth academies and the construction of new training centers. The Senegalese Football Federation has already announced plans to establish scouting networks across Europe and West Africa, hoping to identify and nurture the next Sadio Mané or Kalidou Koulibaly. For young players across Africa, Senegal's triumph is living proof that vision, investment, and belief can shatter old hierarchies. But the implications go far beyond the immediate aftermath. Senegal's win signals a seismic shift in the footballing landscape, one that will impact television rights, sponsorship negotiations, and even the global transfer market. Major brands, always seeking the next big story, are now turning their attention to African football as a source of growth and innovation. For the business side of the sport, this is a potential goldmine, with African nations set to command higher fees for broadcasting and commercial partnerships. There are now two distinct paths for England. On one, Tuchel could rally his squad, inject new blood and ideas into the team, and prove that this shock result was merely a stumble on the road to renewed greatness. On the other, if Tuchel remains inflexible and persists with outdated tactics, England could face a period of slow decline, with nations like Senegal continuing their meteoric rise. The stakes could not be higher. The next major international tournament, the FIFA World Cup in North America, will arrive in just over 2 years. If England fails to address its shortcomings, it risks missing out on football's biggest prizes for an entire generation. This is not just about pride, it is about maintaining relevance and financial strength in an increasingly competitive global market. For Senegal, the possibilities are exhilarating. Coach Pape Thiaw's tactical revolution has already inspired a generation. With the influx of new funding, the country is planning to build a national football center of excellence, modeled after France's famed Clairefontaine Academy. There are discussions underway with European clubs to form partnerships and exchange programs, further raising the standard of coaching and player development. For African football as a whole, this could mark the beginning of a golden era, a time when more teams from the continent reach the later stages of the World Cup and challenge for the sport's ultimate prize. What lessons can the world draw from this historic upset? The Senegalese example is clear. Vision, targeted investment, and tactical courage can topple even the most entrenched football giants. For fans, it is a powerful reminder that passion and tradition, while vital, are no longer enough. The modern game demands innovation, adaptability, and relentless pursuit of improvement. For aspiring players and managers, the message is even sharper. Those who dare to evolve, who invest in new technologies and strategies, will shape the future. This is a theme not limited to football. Across business and technology, stagnation is the real enemy. Glenn Hoddle once remarked, "The game belongs to those who dare to change." That principle applies as much to the boardroom as it does to the pitch. Whether you support England or Senegal, this match proves that underdogs are only underdogs until the whistle blows. The world is shifting, and the winners will be those who embrace bold ideas and unrelenting self-improvement. Yet there is another layer to Senegal's triumph, one rooted in the use of advanced technology. In the weeks leading up to the match, the Senegalese Football Federation invested in cutting-edge artificial intelligence analytics to dissect England's tactical patterns and identify weaknesses. This use of data-driven scouting and performance optimization is at the forefront of a new wave in global football, and it may soon become standard practice among ambitious nations worldwide. By harnessing technology, Senegal gained a crucial edge, a fact that should serve as a wake-up call for traditional powers resting on their laurels. Looking ahead, the ripple effects of this upset could be enormous. We may see increased African representation in the latter stages of major tournaments, fueled by confidence, innovation, and growing financial muscle. European clubs may intensify their scouting of African talent, seeking the next breakout stars before their market value soars. The global football economy, already worth hundreds of billions, could become even more interconnected and competitive. For England, the time for complacency is over. If Thomas Tuchel listens to his critics, adapts his tactics, and embraces the integration of youth and new technologies, there is every chance that England can reclaim its place at the summit of world football. But if this defeat is dismissed as an anomaly, history suggests a new era is already unfolding, one in which Africa is no longer knocking at the door, but confidently stepping into the spotlight. So, can Thomas Tuchel turn things around? The answer will depend on his next moves, his willingness to innovate, to empower fresh talent, and to learn from painful lessons. The world will be watching closely, not just for results but for signs of meaningful change. In the ever-evolving landscape of sport, the only certainty is that those who refuse to adapt will be left behind. And here's a final secret that may surprise you. Senegal's win was not simply about athleticism or tactics. It was about preparation at every level. Their investment in artificial intelligence, in nutrition, in psychological resilience, all of these elements came together to create an unstoppable force. This is the blueprint for success in the 21st century, whether on the pitch or beyond. If you found these insights valuable, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. What do you think? Is this the dawn of a new football world order? Share your thoughts in the comments below and stay tuned for more global perspectives on the business,